Well, there has been a steady increase in crime during festive seasons, which has been the case for the last few years. Crime events such as hijackings, house robberies, bag or phone snatching, ATM scams and mall robberies are some crimes that have seen a steady increase during the festive seasons. Now, for tips on how to stay safe this festive season, we're now joined via Zoom by Specialist Investigator Mike Bolhuis. Mike, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Just talk to us about just some of the most common crime trends, to be aware of during this time of the year. On a personal note, I've already heard so many people talk about how they've already been robbed, and we're not even, into mid-month of December.
Yes, and what we've been inundated with calls of corrupt policemen and metro policemen that is pulling people off the road and literally telling them to give them money, otherwise they will lock them up. So I don't want to spend too much time on one subject because there's many, but I want to warn the public to be very vigilant of corrupt authorities. They must, the moment the policemen say that, they must literally close their windows, drive to the nearest police station, and they must make a big hoo-ha. Unfortunately, I can tell you, they will take, if they don't do that, they will take advantage of the situation because they threaten to lock you up the moment they do that. But make sure you record it. Make sure your phones are on 24/7. You have to have a bit of a dash cam situation in your car. You have to have evidence. You have to have, if people are there with you, be able to make statements and witnesses to the effect. But that's one warning I want to give to the public. Be very, very careful. The others are, every year it escalates and it becomes worse. So it's like the criminals decide this time of the year, October, November, December, is to take advantage because people are tired. They're less vigilant. They're not aware, and they let their guard down because they prepare for a holiday or to move or go away. And they also think that when they move, they go to a safer place. It's not necessarily the case. You must be vigilant and awake and aware all the time, wherever you are. And even up to the point of leaving, you must know you are going to another area with its own crime and even probably worse crime, because remember, the criminals are all waiting here around the coast for all the people from Gauteng or wherever in the Midlands to come and visit their territory. So you're already in a territory that you don't know, so you need to be very careful. Know your area where you're going, know where the authorities are. Be very careful with who you get involved with. Watch out for strangers. Watch out for nightclubs. Stay away from anything that is in any way where you could be in danger. You have to be careful everywhere, constantly, and stay together as a family. Don't split up. And if you do, make sure that you are with people that you can trust and stay in proper, thorough communication with each other through your cell phones. But also be very careful what you have on your cell phone, because the main target for any criminal is your cell phone. Once they have your cell phone, they might have all your information, all the photos, your car registration details, your addresses, what you have in the bank, your PIN codes, etc., etc. So make sure your phones are carefully scrutinized on a daily basis and delete what's not necessary, and never keep any information on your phone that can be a compromising situation or put you in a compromising situation and can be used against you.
Mike, I want to go back to the point that you raised earlier. It is obviously very concerning, particularly when we are talking about, police officials, that they are official. These are people that are not pretending to be cops, who are stopping you and asking you for a bribe. From a practical example, you've given that you have to drive off or you can use your phone to record. What happens then when you get to the police station? I mean, we've seen what the VIP SAPS is capable of doing. You know, that assault that we saw on the highway with the 3 people that were severely injured. I mean, how practical is it for a citizen to drive off while a police officer has stopped you and is asking for this bribe, particularly if you say this is currently happening?
90% of the case, they won't do anything about it because they know they've committed a crime, and especially if you video it and if you have got a recording. If a policeman pulls you off and he is professional and he identifies himself and he has proper communications with you, you can give your full cooperation. But I'm talking about policemen that directly, even without properly greeting you, say they want money, directly going in the direction of getting something from you, finances or goods or whatever is in the car. It's at that stage where he should clearly see that you video and audio it, and you've got it on record, and then you say it to him. You say to him, listen, you are threatening, intimidating me, you've requested money, you are corrupt, this is a crime, I am going to the nearest police station right now if you follow me. So 99%, they'll leave you right there and then. You have to have this mindset, you have to be a bit brazen and prepared for this. But the videos and the audios are very important because you should. And you have no other option as to give it some kind of an authority so that something is done about it. So they can send it to us, they can send it to the SABC, they can send it to everybody. And make sure that this becomes known so that exposure is there. And that works. But it must get to eventually the proper police that do something about it. You have no other option. Yeah. If you just drive away, they will follow you and they will use that then and then further extort you. But if you have the evidence and the information, they will leave you. They target so many, so they wouldn't worry about you and you can move on. The unfortunate thing is that there are so many policemen extra employed and put out for our safety and security to protect and serve us during this festive season. And that's a very big concern to me. And I hope this hits hard to the authorities today because I want to warn the authorities. I've just instructed the public to film and audio any form of corruption, whether it's policemen, metro, or any other person that commits any crime. That's why we have cell phones. You know, exposure is the best way to curb crime. So we just need to stand up against crime. There are always many, many more people against crime than those are for crime and involved in crime. If we just stand up and expose it, but also obviously take care. You've got kids, you've got family. Be very, very careful and make split but correct decisions and have your technology working constantly to have that evidence.
Mike, just quickly, talking about technology, cybercrime, that's also another, a crime that we see on the rise during the festive season, particularly when we talk about, people somehow infiltrating your cell phone and, asking for some form of bribery or fraud, committing fraud via WhatsApp or whatever that case is. I mean, how prevalent is that? And also, how easy is it for police, particularly when they investigate, to get some of these criminals? Because we've heard of many people who have had their bank accounts wiped out, through their cell phone banking, etc., using this particular type of crime. And there are no successful cases that I've heard of.
There's so many. There are thousands. It's the biggest crime in the world. The biggest crime in South Africa is digital and electronic crimes. It's cybercrime. So, we can talk for days. We can make series, movies, documentaries on this. But the bottom line is warnings that I want to give to the people. You should not just open anything. Secondly, don't fall for any emotions or greed. Don't make emotional decisions, make informed decisions. Don't be greedy. If something is too good to be true, it usually is. Don't buy the car that's suddenly 200,000 Rand cheaper. It's not true. It's a scam. Thirdly, before you ever buy and sell, do a thorough, in-depth investigation, a forensic investigation, a track and tracing investigation. In other words, where are these people? Who are they? Let's just use a car. You need to see the car. You need to drive the car. You need to inspect the car, have your mechanic look at the car, ask the bank if there's still outstanding money on the car, ask the police if this car has been involved in a crime and if it's stopped. How many cases do we get where a person buys a car and then later it's stolen or cloned? There are so many investigations you just have to do on the car buy alone. You should do that extreme investigation on anything, whether you buy a puppy, a holiday, any trip or any investment. But the bottom line is the first three things that I've mentioned. Don't open just anything. Secondly, don't let greed and emotions pull you in. But if you really want to buy and sell, you must do all these thorough investigations. Right, Once again, watch out how you treat your phone.
Absolutely. Mike, thank you so much for your time. Unfortunately, we have run out of time, but really do appreciate all of your tips. Specialist investigator there, Mike Bolhuis. Of course, there has been a steady increase in crime during the festive season. Mike telling you there to be careful.